Hello, and welcome back to Mr. Anderson Plays Jake Hunter. Memories of the Past. The Red-Eyed Tiger. Last time we found out that Wanda was also involved in the... Or, no, Kit, sorry. Kit was also... I don't know why I said Wanda. Whatever. Kit was involved with the casino robbery. Well, she wasn't directly involved, but her husband was, because the little girl, I think her name, what was her name? Wanda? Yeah, I think it was Wanda. I think that's what I got mixed up with. I'm forgetting names now because it's been a while. But her daddy had a burned arm, and the man that robbed the bank also had a burn mark on his arm. So, without further ado, let's continue on. Oh, and thank you to the little bit of an upsurge in subscribers this month. It's very great. I'm at 60 subscribers now. Woo! Thank you. It makes me feel good. It was a cold winter day when a strange girl appeared at my office, calling me Daddy. Women usually call me Daddy, but it's a little weird when little girls do it. Before long, I figured out that she was the daughter of Catherine Oliver, an old flame of mine. A few days before, Kit had asked me to investigate a casino robbery. The day after I reported my findings, Wanda, Kit's daughter, showed up at my door. I went looking for Kit, only to discover that she disappeared the same day her daughter came to my office. Just when I exhausted all my leads and was about to give up on finding Kit, her kid mentioned something suggesting Kit's ex-husband had been involved in the casino heist. She asked me to look into. As it turned out, I wasn't the only person out looking for Kit that day. The man had eyes like a pair of scalpels. They gave me the creeps, but he said he was a cop from Alvius. Apparently, Kit's ex, Kramer, Cosmo Kramer, wanted for murder by the Fuzz. Katsuros, the cop, had been tailing Kit, hoping she'd lead him to Kramer, but when she went missing, he'd started following me. Fat lot of good had done him. I didn't know much more than he did. I had a feeling it wouldn't be long till we were all up to our necks in shit. We haven't seen King yet, so let's give Kit a call. King talking to, huh? After Katsaros told me they'd found what they thought was Kit's blood, I told Julia to take Wanda back to the office and wait for me. My stomach felt like it was full of cement. Something had happened to Kit. He must have eaten a lot of Chinese food, because that's how my stomach feels after eating Chinese food. And if the cops were turning up blood, it probably wasn't something good. King.
Why, Jake? Whatever is the matter? You're quite in a state.
Did you really find Kit's blood?
Kit?
Catherine Oliver. Who might you be,
young man?
Just got a call from your office. I'm Officer Katsuros from Alvius. I feel like I'm doing the one voice. What's his name? From like every. He's in like his voice is in every freaking game, and sometimes he does multiple voices. I believe he also did the voice of Spike Spiegel. I feel like I'm doing it. That's who this guy would be voiced by. I forget his name.
Ah, yes, Katsuros, of course. Oh, where are my manners? I'm Detective Scott Xinksly of the Auspicio Police. I take it you and Jake know one another.
He sort of reminds me of Poirot a little bit with that mustache. You might have said that before, but it's worth pointing out again. Ask him.
Jake, what the devil is going on here?
What did I want to do? Let's talk to King about Kit. King, do you know this Kramer guy Katsuros is after?
Yes, we're aware of that case. We're doing our best to assist Mr. Katsuros in this investigation. He seems to think Mr. Kramer is hiding somewhere in Auspicio.
I was friends with his ex-wife in college.
So you know her? I see.
Is it true you found some of her blood, King?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
I hope Katsuros has gotten it wrong, or made a mistake. But there's no denying it. Tell me what happened. Kit's blood. Where did you find her blood?
Well, it's a little complicated. Someone reported hearing gunshots, you see, so we sent an officer over to check it out.
No one saw her?
No. When our man arrived, there was no one at the scene. But judging from the pool of blood we found, she's lost quite a bit.
Yeah, she lost an entire pool of blood, jeez.
I don't think she could have left the scene on her own. We're fairly certain that her attacker took her somewhere after shooting her.
Wait. King, you said no one saw her. So how do you know it's her blood?
Well, we have reason to believe that the blood belonged to Catherine Oliver.
And what would that reason be? Why are you so sure that's Kit's blood you found?
Her driver's license was in a bag nearby. And the blood found at the scene of the crime matches her blood type. Look, Jake, I don't know what your relationship with this poor girl, but it seems almost certain that she was shot.
How much blood did you find?
I don't know the exact numbers, but if someone doesn't find her soon, she's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Thanks.
Jake?
Man, Jake's taking this a little personal this time. It had to be Kramer. He must have done it. What do you mean? Huh. What did he mean? What are you talking about, Katsuras? Kramer shot Catherine Oliver. Are you saying he shot her for leaving him?
Sure. Happens all the time.
After all, the man's a killer. What's one more body to a guy like that? That's quite a claim. Well, what are we gonna do now? So what exactly is the case against Kramer? He was wanted for murder of one Manny Tyler, or Mary Tyler Moore, a former co-worker. Here's a picture of Tyler. He was found dead 5 days ago. He talked to a few of their co-workers. We talked to a few of the co-workers. Turns out Kramer owed Tyler quite a bit of money. So you figured he couldn't pay up and decided to off the guy instead? Yeah, that's about it. Come on, Katsaros. That's a little weak for a murder rap. Don't you have some real evidence? Of course I do, Hunter. This isn't the kiddie pool. Witnesses placed Kramer at the scene of the crime. Besides, if he's innocent, why go on the run? He's only proving his own guilt. Kramer killed Manny Tyler. Kramer shot him, just like he shot Catherine. Kit's still alive. I sure hope you're right, Hunter. Hey, Xinksly, think you could do me a favor?
Well, it all depends.
Did your men find a bullet at the scene?
Why, yes, we did. I believe it's over in the forensics lab at the moment.
Have your men take a look at it and compare it to the bullet that Kramer used on Tyler. $50 says they match. Well, we've sat around here long enough, Xinksly. I think it's time we found this girl. Hunter, leave this one to real detectives. Oh, fuck you. I'm the real detective around here. Get a haircut.
Don't worry, Jake. I'll find her, I promise.
King gave my hand what I'm pretty sure he meant to be a reassuring shake. I turned and walked into his office with Katsuras. Go home? With Kid out there somewhere, probably bleeding to death? There was about as much chance of me going home as there was of me giving birth to a litter of kittens. I mean, I gave birth to a litter of kittens once. It hurt. Something about Katsuras what Katsuras had said seemed fishy. A failed marriage hardly seemed like motive for murder, and if Kramer had shot her, why bother to move the body? How could he have even moved the body that bloody? He was asking for trouble, and he had to know that. I could only think of one way he could have moved the body without being seen. A car. Oh yeah, it was a bike. Could you imagine riding a bike with a dead body on the pegs? He could only move her body with a car, which meant that, in all likelihood, the crime had been planned. Shooting an ex seemed a little like a crime of passion than a premeditated murder. Katsura's theory was holding less water by the minute, but if Kramer hadn't shot her, then who had? Then it hit me, like a sock to the gut. Shooting Kit wasn't the desperate act of an estranged husband. It was a mob hit. She's on the run from the mob. Well, it was the Centauri, because they know who the family is. This whole mess had started with the robbery at their casino. Kramer was one of the robbers and the deaths of his co-worker. Kit's kidnapping. The cinder block in my gut was telling me that the Centauri family was the thread that brought all of them together. And the more I thought about it, the more likely it seemed. If I was right, I knew the Centauri family had been up to lately. I guess we're going to be going back to the Salvatores, huh? And I knew just the man to ask. We're going to talk to Drago. Drago, the Salvatore family's favorite son. He knew plenty about the Centauri. Hell, he knew plenty about damn near everything. If my hunch was right and the Centauri were behind everything, they were about to land themselves in a whole mess of trouble. I had a feeling Drago wouldn't mind seeing a little misfortune befall the Centauri family. Okay, let's move. Let's go to the Salvatore HQ. I decided to give Yulia a call to check in before I headed to Drago's place. Okay. Let's use Marcy here. I dialed in the number from my office and hit call. I saw that they're going to be releasing, like, newer flip phones. I think that's pretty cool. Hello, this is the Detective Hunter Agency. How may I help you? Hey, Dollface, it's me. Mr. Hunter. Hey, sorry about earlier. I didn't really have time to explain what was going on. There's been a development. I probably won't be back in the office for a while. Oh no, did something happen? The police found what they're pretty sure is Kit's blood. Oh my goodness, where is she? That's the thing. Nobody knows. Oh dear. I'm going to see if I can't scare up some information. Hopefully I'll get a lead on her whereabouts. I'm going to need you to take care of Wanda for a little longer. That's fine, sir. I understand. Look, don't tell her yet, okay? I don't want the poor kid to hear anything until it's concrete. I know. Thanks, babe. You're a real peach. I can think of no higher praise, sir. Yeah. She's a Sato. I think she's into that kind of thing. I hope you find Catherine soon. Wanda's beginning to miss her mother. Yeah, well, I hope so too. Wish me luck. Catherine and Wanda were counting on me. I couldn't afford to mess things up. Well, let's move. Yes, Salvatore HQ. Even the ember at the tip of my cigarette seemed to shrink from the winter cold as I headed for the Salvatore HQ and Drago. The Salvatore family practically runs Aspicio, and if it goes on under the table or behind closed doors, they know about it. As wise guys go, they're not too bad. They've got more honor and decency than some cops I've had the dubious pleasure of knowing. Alright, well, let's move on in. Let's enter. The three wise guys in the back, eh? I pushed open the door and stepped across the threshold. Drago strode up to me as I entered the office. This guy never leaves the office. He's always there. He's sort of like, State Farm? This video is not sponsored by State Farm. Mr. Hunter, it is always a pleasure. How may I assist you today? Sorry, I didn't have the accent now, eh? Sorry to bother you, Drago, but I was hoping you might be able to do me a little favor. And what might that favor be? If it is within my power, I am always anxious to help a friend in need. I know you guys can't see it, but I'm talking a lot with my hands when I do this, alright? I'm doing like the sideways karate chop, and I just hit my headset. Alright, let's talk to Drago. Favor. Can you check up with the Centauri family for me? See if they've been up to anything lately? The Centauri family? I assume that you mean anything apart from having the casino robbed? Perhaps you should be more specific, Mr. Hunter. Kit, A friend of mine from college has just been shot and taken somewhere. I don't know where. I take it you believe the Spittori family are somehow involved in the misfortune that has befallen your friend. Yeah. She was a bird that asked me to investigate the robbery at the casino, and her ex-husband. Robber. He was one of the chumps that made off with 300 grand of Spittori gambling money. Well, Mr. Hunter, that is certainly quite a connection. Do you have more? I think Kit probably asked me to look into the casino heist to confirm her husband had been part of it. When she heard my report, she knew for sure. Very interesting, Mr. Hunter. And you think that, because of her relationship with this gentleman, she had been wounded and detailed by the Spittori? Yeah, in fact, I'm pretty damn sure. I need your help, Drago. She's hurt and dying, probably scared and alone. She needs your help or she'll die that way. I understand, Mr. Hunter. Don't worry, I will see to this personally. Thanks, Drago. I owe you one. I mean it. What is your plan, Mr. Hunter? I assume you have one. I'm going to infiltrate Zero. Don't do anything too rash. You might be put in the non-airy games. You don't want that. Come on, Drago. You sound just like Yulia. You just keep an eye on the Spittori family. I can take care of myself. Of course you can. He's got a lot of mob connections. Jake Hunter does. Pretty crazy. Well, let's move out. Let's go downtown. Downtown. Casino was downtown. I shoved the cigarette between my lips and started to walk. As I walked, a night fell around me. The neon lights of Spitio flickered on, casting their cold, fluorescent gaze across the milling crowds. What did I want to do? Let's take a look at the casino. A gorilla of a man stood in front of the entrance to Zero. I hope they hadn't changed the password. Talk. Man? Hey there, buddy. What can I do for you? I want to get in. What's the password? Circle. Welcome to Zero, sir. Please enjoy yourself. Thanks, pal. The thick door swung shut behind me, and I was once again in this Spittori casino. Hopefully Goro Majima isn't here. From there, it just looked like a set of nondescript doors. But on the other side of those doors were a world of greed, chance, and betrayal. The whole mess had started at the casino. This doesn't look like Twitter. I mean, he did say, you know, greed, betrayal. That's usually what happens on Twitter. It's a hive of scum and villainy. Alright, so let's take a look around, I guess. Customers. I glanced across the sea of customers, squeezed in between the table like a sardine, and noticed Yanni. I figured he might know something about the Spittori family. I guess we're gonna bother Yanni a little bit more. Hey there, Yanni, my old pal. What the hell? What is your problem, man? Can't you just leave me alone? Oh, I just got a few friendly questions is all. Again? Give me a break, man. Look, alright, sorry for the tough guy stuff, but I really need your help. What's the matter? You don't look so hot, man. Did something happen? We found Kit's blood. Huh? Who's Kit? Oh, you mean Michelle. Yeah. Well, how is she? Is she alright? We don't know. Someone moved her after she was shot. We don't know where to. What? Are you serious? Hey, look, man. If there's anything I can do to help, just say the word. Alright. Throw yourself off a bridge. Has the Spittori family been doing anything suspicious or weird lately? The Spittori family? Do they have something to do with what's happened to Michelle? I think they do. What makes you think that? Kit's ex-husband was one of the men who robbed this joint blind a little over a month ago. Remember that? Holy shit! You're saying Michelle's ex is one of those nut jobs? And because of what he did? Most likely. Damn. Kit, Michelle's been hurt. I need to find her soon. If you can remember anything. even if it seems like nothing. Tell me. Well, there was this one guy. He was kind of suspicious. I haven't seen him for the last few days. Who is he? The man. Who's this guy you've seen? He's part of the Centauri family. He's always been standing in front of the door. The man in front of the door. I thought back to when I'd first visited the casino. The man standing in front of the door. Oh, this dude? With the kind of like blondish hair? Him? He sort of looks like a Backstreet Boy a little bit. I'm sorry, but that's all I can think of. Alright, thanks. Oh yeah, you should go ask Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand and Yanni? That'd be one hell of a show. He knows a lot of the Centauri family because they're rival in the casino business and all. Hey, that's a good idea, kid. He's probably over at the bar. He's the kind of guy who likes to have a drink or two before coming to the club. Alright, I'll try my luck there. I said my goodbyes to Yanni and headed for the door. I dug a cigarette out of my pocket and I glanced over across the room and I found my eyes resting on someone I hadn't expected to see. You're Katsuros. You're... What the hell are you doing here? Funny, I was just about to ask you the same thing. I got a tip Tyler and Kramer used to frequent this establishment. What's your excuse? What the hell do you think I'm doing here? Looking for Kit. Well, I guess you're not completely incompetent, but it's time for you to stop playing detective and leave this to real professionals. Got it. Man, this guy's... How come every detective has beef with Jake? He gave me another icy stare for good measure, then turned on his heel and stomped out of the casino. He was trying to act big, but it almost felt like he was running away from me. Go home. You're embarrassing yourself, dude. Leave it to the real professionals, indeed. Hey, detective. Did Tyler get in some sort of trouble? I heard you mention his name. You know Tyler? Huh? Yanni. How do you know Manny Tyler? I think your angry friend already answered that question for you. He comes here a lot, so do I. It makes sense we'd know each other. I guess that makes sense. You know Kramer too? Yeah, I talked to him once or twice. He used to come in with Tyler. Don't tell me. Hey, you know, I haven't seen Tyler in a while. What's he up to? Manny Tyler was killed. What? Kramer's the primary suspect. Are you serious? Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet. Kramer's Kit's ex-husband. Ex-husband? Shit, that means Kramer's one of the guys who robbed the place, wasn't he? You're sharper than you look. If Tyler and Kramer spent a lot of time here at the casino together, then... Accomplice. Tyler must have been the second man in the heist. What? That's crazy. Hold on, I think I get it, yeah. I finally figured it out. I understand the connection between Kramer, Kit, Tyler, the Centauri, all of it. Even if I hadn't figured it out. The connection, I still didn't know where Kit was, and if she was still in trouble. I waved goodbye to Yanni as I headed for the door. The soft sound of jazz drifted through the air, mingling with the sweet smell of alcohol. Any other time, I would have felt at home here, maybe taken a little time to relax with a drink. But not that day. Kit needed my help, and she didn't have much time. What did I want to do? We're looking around for Ferdinand. I could see Ferdinand standing with a group of other similar men talking and laughing. We needed to talk. Ferdinand? Oh, it's the guy from the hostess bar. 1 second. Taking some coffee. Oh, Mr. Hunter. What a coincidence. I don't remember the voice I gave this guy last time, but this is it now. No, it's not. Huh? I need your help. Hey, guys, can you give us a minute, okay? Yeah. The other men scrambled out of their seats, leaving Ferdinand and me alone. What do you need? Ferdinand. I need your help. You sound, are you in some kind of trouble? Kit's been shot. Shot? What do you mean? What happened to her? Well, we're really still not sure. I told Ferdinand everything that had happened so far. That Kit had most likely asked me to investigate the casino heist because she suspected her husband's involvement. That her ex-husband was under suspicion of murder, and how I was convinced that it had been this Venturi who had attacked and kidnapped her. I understand. Very well, Mr. Hunter. I'll help you. That's good to hear, Franz. I'll see what I can do, what I can uncover. Hopefully I'll have something soon. Do you have a phone number I could call you at? Yeah. Look, thanks for help. I'm not doing this for you, Mr. Hunter. I'm doing this for Michelle. I handed him a business card as I pulled my coat on and headed toward the door. The evening was kind of like a cold knife that worked itself in through every chunk in the armor of my clothes. I've done all I could think of. All I could do was wait and see what Drago and Ferdinand would turn up. But Drago, doing nothing, just didn't sit right with me. Kit was out there somewhere, dying. Like Cal was going to sit on my ass and let someone else do all the work. I didn't have any leads, but I wasn't about to let that stop me. I pulled my coat tighter against the freezing wind and walked toward downtown. Hunter Detective Agency. The first rays of the morning sun were just beginning to caress the tops of Vespitio skyscrapers when I dragged myself into the office. What a run-on. I ran from one end of the Vespitio to the other, and all I had to show for it was the 2 tired dogs and empty Marlboro box. I stumbled through the door, exhausted, and collapsed on the couch. Welcome back, sir. Did you have any luck locating Miss Oliver? No. The poor girl's a ghost. At least she's with, Patrick Swayze. Well, not literally, I hope. In any event, all I got was sore feet and a whole lot of bupkis. I see. Where's Wanda? Where's the kid? She's sleeping in your bed. Guess I might as well see how the little tyke's holding up. She was off in dreamland, the stuffed tiger wrapped in her small arms. She didn't know that her mother might be dying out in the city somewhere, that her father was a wanted man. I didn't want her to wake up to that. She was just a kid. She's adorable when she's asleep, isn't she? She must have been really tired herself out at the park yesterday. I'd completely forgotten about the park. It just seems like it was a long, long time ago. Well, a lot has happened. Yeah, I guess it has. The sound of the phone startled us. As I dug around in my coat for my cell phone, I couldn't help but wonder. Was it Ferdinand? Had he found something? Or is it Drago? I dug Marcy out of my pocket and flipped her open. Jake, this is Ferdinand. Did you find anything? Yeah. This Venturi make a lot of deals with other families and dealers. And so on out at this abandoned warehouse. It's a really weird sentence they put there. You think there might be something going on there now? Yeah, perhaps they have taken Michelle there. Where is it? That's the thing. I know it's called the Herbin Factory, but I don't know where it is. I'm afraid that was all I was able to find. You've been a big help, Franz. If I learn anything new, Mr. Hunter, I'll give you a call. Franz seems a little suspicious. He seems a little nervous, to be honest with you. I hung up on Ferdinand with mixed feelings. The name of the factory was a big break, but without a location of it... Oh, sorry. Early in the morning. But without a location, it was going to be hard to find it. Well, we can think about it. An abandoned factory called Hubrin. Even with the name, I knew I was going to have a hard time finding it. I was about to start combing through the phone book when it came to me. Drago, if anyone would know, he would. I have to get a little dramatic there. Alright, so I guess we're going to call Drago now, right? Drago. I punched in his number and waited while the foot call connected. I'm still getting Metal Gear Solid flashbacks from that. I sat through a few rings before Drago picked up. Hey, it's Jake. Ah, Mr. Hunter, your timing is, as always, impeccable. I was just about to call you. What is it? We found something interesting while investigating the Centauri family. I thought perhaps we'd simply gotten lucky, but it's turned into quite a mess. Trouble? Yes. I was hoping you might do me the honor of coming to my office to look over what we found. Alright, Drago. I'm on my way. I got a question or two for you when I get there. Of course you do. I'll be expecting you shortly. So yeah, see you in a bit. Alright, so it looks like we're moving to the family again. Alright, doll, I gotta go pay a visit to Mr. Vinny Drago. Did you figure something out? No, not yet, but you know me. I can't just sit around. Of course you can't, sir. Don't worry about me. I'll just stay here with Wanda. It's not as though I wanted to go home and shower. Isn't there a shower here? Thanks, Dollface. I'll see you around. See you later. Best of luck, sir. Man, she's got to be stanking right now. Why don't you just take Wanda home with you? Take a shower real quick. No big deal. Put on some sesame street. Should be good. After assuring Yulia that she would be receiving a healthy bonus for her care of Wanda, I headed back out. The morning sun threw golden streaks across the slate gray sky, and its warmth welcomed after the frigid night. I made a promise to myself that I would find Kit before the sun dipped below Espicio's jagged horizon again. I pointed my tired feet toward the Salvatore family HQ and started walking. The sun was finally beginning to push the night's chill from the streets when I arrived at the headquarters of the Salvatore family. You know, Jake Hunter seems like he'd be a pretty depressing person to hang out with, to be honest with you. I guess we can just go inside. I stubbed out my cigarette and stepped into Drago's domain. Drago and a handful of the lieutenants walked up to me as I entered. We have been waiting for you, Mr. Hunter. Sorry, guys. I got here as quick as I could. We don't have much time. How about we just cut to the chase? So, you said you had something? Our agents learned that the Centauri have access to an abandoned factory. They use it frequently for various dealings of a usually unsavory nature. Abandoned factory. Could it be Hubrin? Right? I was hoping your fellows might know where it is. Hubrin, huh? Wait, you're telling me you didn't know that? No. We did not know that. Well, shoot, Drago. Sorry your men had to waste their time on that. Just knowing it exists isn't really going to help us much. Don't be so quick to say we wasted our time, Mr. Hunter. I may not have uncovered the factory's name, but I did find something else. Come on, Drago. This isn't the time to be coy. I know where it is. Really? Well, perhaps I spoke too soon. We sort of know where it is. You'll have to excuse my ignorance here, pal, but how do you sort of know where something is? Well, we found something that we know points to the factory's location. It seems to be in code, and we've yet to crack it. Code? Yes. We hope you might have more luck deciphering its true meaning. Okay. What's this code? So what is this coded message, Drago? Well, it says Union equal gold, red, purple. Trade between red, blue, and green and brown. This seems like a Dr. Seuss, one fish, two fish, blue fish. I'm sure it leads to the factory, but none of us can figure out what it means. Any ideas, Mr. Hunter? I think we gotta think on that one. Union, gold, red, purple. It looked like that line was probably the key, but what could it mean? Something about the words in the code, they seemed familiar. What were they? I knew I'd seen them before, but where? Oh, yeah, a trains. Of course, it was obvious. They had to be talking about Union Station, which meant they were talking about the Metro. Is this when the nuclear war starts and the game series Metro does? And if the code was talking about Metro, then the colors had to be for the lines. The colors were different Metro train lines. Drago, I think I may have just figured it out. Oh, really? Well, congratulations are in order, Mr. Hunter. What does your mysterious code reveal to you? Well, see, the colors of the metro train lines. Train lines. Yeah. Any of you fellows got a train map? Yeah, I got one here. Here you are. Who the fuck's got a train map just sitting on him? One of the wise guys at Drago's elbow pulled the metro map out of his pocket and handed it to me. Each of Espicio's train lines has a color red, gold, and so on. And each set of colors is telling us a station where those lines meet. Yeah, gold, red, purple means Union Station, since that's where gold, red, and purple lines meet. All I had to do was figure out which lines met at which stations. Okay. Where did the green and... how are you supposed to know this, since you don't have the maps? So, I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna use my stand, Vlad. Alright, it's Imperial. Amazing. My stand, thank you, Vlad. They meet at the Imperial Station. Where do green and brown meet? Hawthorne Station. The green and brown lines meet at the Hawthorne Station. I figured out which stations the note was referring to, but where did it say the factory was? It had to be in between the two stations in the note. It was the only place that made sense. I get it. So where is the factory? Well, it would have to be between the Imperial and Hawthorne stations. And as far as I know, there's only one station in between those two. Avalon. Avalon. Then the factory must be near the Avalon station. That would seem to make sense. Searching all of Espicio for one abandoned factory is a bit of a tall order, but if we limit our search to the area near the Avalon station, it becomes a far simpler task. I will have my men begin searching right away, Mr. Hunter. Thanks, Drago. It wasn't long before Drago's men turned up an abandoned factory with a sign saying human, just blocks from the Avalon station. The moment they confirmed the location, I thanked Drago again, and pulled on my coat and headed for the Avalon station. The old building sat in front of me, a massive rectangle of metal and rust. Years of weather and neglect had made the sign over its doors almost unreadable. I could only barely make out Hubrin, the name Ferdinand had given me. It had taken a while, but thanks to Drago's coded note, I managed to find the place. I only hoped Kit was there. And that she was still alive. What did I want to do? Well, let's go inside the factory. Ooh, a cutscene. You don't get a lot of these. It's a tomato ketchup factory. Oh shit. She's still there. She still has a lot of color in her for being shot and laying there for a while. I mean, she's been there, what, for 2 days? Jake! Yeah, I'm here, kid. Just hang on. Please. What is it? Please. Kramer. Fine. Kramer. Please, Jake. Maybe she ran out of coffee creamer, and we got this all wrong. It's not Kramer, it's coffee creamer. Of course. Anything. Just stay with me, kid. Thanks. She let out a ragged breath and her eyes fluttered closed. Hey! Hey! Wake up! You gotta wake up! Snap out of it, kid. Catherine! In the unearthly silence of the factory, I heard the dry crinkle of paper. In Kemp's limp hand was a piece of paper with 2 words scrawled across it. Find Kramer. The note crumpled in my fist. I would do what Kid asked. I would find Kramer. Then I'll find the people who did this to her. And I would make them very, very sorry for hurting Kid. Well, at least we found Kid. And she really held on. I mean, what? She was, left alone in an abandoned factory for what? Almost a day and a half? I mean, hell, we went to sleep. And she was still laying there. Jeez. She's pretty badass. And luckily she died when we got there to tell us the message that she'd written on a freaking piece of paper anyway. I don't know. I find that harder to believe than Abby from Last of Us 2. But, it's a game. Who really cares? But we'll have to wait until next time to see what happens. Is Kit dead? Or is she just in the hospital? Is Wanda an orphan now? Who knows? And who really did hurt Kit? Was it the Svettori family? Or was it Kramer? That'll have to wait until next time. I hope you guys are enjoying. If you are, please leave a like, a comment, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe, because it makes me feel good. And make sure you have a good night. Good night.